When Lily's livestream got baited and shot up the trending charts, I, rarely enough, actually felt a twinge of shame. It all started with tonight's live variety show. During the game segment, my phone screen was cast up on the big display. The original idea was to see whose emo-style social media post would get the fastest response from friends. But the moment I posted mine, a message popped up instantly. A photo of perfectly sculpted abs, dripping with suggestive energy, accompanied by the caption, "Sis, I think a mosquito bit me here. It's really itchy. Do you have any cream you can recommend?" The studio erupted into whistles and teasing shouts. It was only then that I belatedly looked at the contact name. Turned out to be the 185 sweet bro I'd added by chance at a bar not long ago. He usually sent me flirty, provocative messages. But tonight, he went all out, sending me shirtless pictures with zero shame. Thick-skinned as I was, I turned to the host and asked, "Does that count as concern?" "That doesn't count," the host replied. "He has to say something caring for it to qualify." So I had no choice but to keep the conversation going. "Just scratch it with your hand, it'll be fine." Weird, I scratched it but it still itches. "Maybe it only works if your hand scratches it, sis." Shy. I sucked in a deep breath. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of the giant livestream screen. The comments were already going wild. Am I even allowed to watch this? This 185 centimeters big-chested sweet bro sure knows how to flirt. Watching a female celeb get baited live, this is comedy gold. So this is what a beauty's private life looks like? Can't imagine what happens off camera. Seeing the chat veering dangerously off track, I panicked. What if he said something unbearable next? So I quickly sent, "I'm live right now." 185 big-chested sweet bro shot back. Crap, too late to delete. I'm so mad. Nobody in the livestream is allowed to look. Aw, I'm dying of embarrassment, sis. Cover me up quick. Don't let anyone see me. And just like that, against a backdrop of endless ha 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 scrolling across the screen, the whole farce finally came to an end. Although I had already expected to hit the trending list, when it really happened, my shame still exploded. It felt like streaking in front of a massive crowd. I decisively tossed my phone aside and went into the bathroom to shower. After I came out, my phone chimed. I glanced over out of the corner of my eye. It was Halls, my archenemy who was currently on a business trip abroad. A mirror selfie showing off his abs. Compared to Sweet Bro's picture, Halls's abs carried a raw wildness and tension. A vein traced downward, making it almost embarrassing to look straight at. I was just about to type a question mark. Then his message came through. Oops, slipped. My bad. I couldn't help but roll my eyes. What a bullshit excuse, like I'd ever believe that. So I left the chat window open, waiting to see what trick he was trying to pull. 3 seconds later, another message came in. Hall said, "Where'd you meet that little bro? So clueless? He knew you were live streaming and still sent you that kind of message on purpose." Huh? I hesitated. He probably didn't know, right? You being on a variety live stream tonight, I knew about it all the way overseas. You think he didn't? Hall snapped at me. Use your brain, will you? Shut up. But seriously, that guy's nothing special. You can tell just from those abs that he's useless. And that greasy pretty boy look? Since when do you like that type? I couldn't stand him trashing my taste, so I shot back. Then what type should I like? Yours? He bragged. What's wrong with my type? I'm great. What's so great about you? Halls went quiet for a beat, then his voice dropped low, laced with something intimate. You'll know once you try. Not interested. I threw it back hard. I'd try 185 big chest sweet bro before I'd ever try you. And with that, I hung up without caring about his reaction. At first, I thought the whole thing would just blow over, hit the trending list, let strangers and fans laugh it off, and that'd be the end of it. Who knew my family would go as far as arranging a marriage? Their reason was that the entertainment industry is too corrupt. Even a pure and innocent girl like me could be led astray. Better to tie me down with someone reliable and settle the marriage early. I refused, stubbornly. But then my dad shut me up with one sentence, then quit showbiz altogether. Just come home and stop embarrassing us out there every day. And just like that, the marriage talk started out of nowhere. On the way to the restaurant, I couldn't help but vent to Halls on my phone. You won't believe this, I'm getting set up for marriage. All because of that 185 sweet bro yesterday. My parents think I've been corrupted, so they want to shove a trustworthy guy at me. But the only so-called trustworthy ones around me are those same few people. Don't tell me it's Gus? God. Sure, I had a crush on him back in high school, but that was like a million years ago. Oh no, just saw Ken's post. He's talking about getting engaged too. Is he trying to hint at me or what? So I kept venting to Halls the whole way, spinning guesses about everyone around us. Even though I had no clue who the arranged guy would be, I was sure of one thing. I didn't want to marry any of them. I sat in the restaurant, waiting for the mystery date to show up. Past 7 o'clock, and still no sign of him. I got up to leave, but the waiter stopped me. Miss, please wait a moment. The gentleman will be here any second. And who exactly is this gentleman? The waiter zipped his lips and stepped aside. I grabbed my phone and kept venting. God, what kind of man shows up late? If I have to marry him, I'd rather slam my head into the wall right here and die. Just as I hit send, the door swung open. Halls walked in, phone in hand. He was wearing a dark long coat, tailored trousers that made his legs look impossibly long, a loose tie at his neck, and slightly tousled hair. When his eyes landed on me, he curved his lips into a smile. Traffic was hell. I came as fast as I could. I froze. Weren't you supposed to be overseas? He raised a brow. My parents want me to get married. Of course I had to fly back. He stopped by the table, thumb swiping up on his phone. After scanning every single one of my messages, he looked up at me. So you're not happy with any of those guys, huh? What about me? You already know the answer. He chuckled low. Sounds like you're pretty satisfied. Let's go get the marriage certificate tomorrow. Are you out of your mind? I snapped at him. Which eye of yours saw that I'm satisfied? You're the one I'm least satisfied with. Hall sat down across from me, curious. What exactly are you dissatisfied with? Everything. He chuckled. Funny, because I'm pretty satisfied with you. I frowned at him, suddenly wondering if he'd been possessed. Was the sun rising in the west? Since when did this man stop arguing with me? Halls crooked his finger at me. I reluctantly leaned in, and his clear, low voice brushed right against my ear. Before you, my parents tried setting me up with someone else. Who? Ella. My chest tightened for no reason. I stared at him. Ella's liked you forever. Wouldn't marrying her be perfect? Of course not. Halls had his own twisted logic. She likes me. If I married her, wouldn't that be too good for her? He poured himself some water, speaking as he tipped the pitcher. A marriage alliance should be with someone you don't have feelings for, ideally someone you can't even stand. After all, it's business. You can't mix personal feelings into that. He slid the glass of water across the table to me. Don't you agree? By that logic, he and I really were a perfect match. That thought flickered through my mind for a split second before I immediately shot it down. What kind of nonsense was that? Marriage? I repeated myself. I'm not marrying you. Period. Hall stayed perfectly calm. Fair enough. Then why don't you marry Gus? He's a good guy. After all, you liked him back in high school. Sure, he turned you down, but so what? Your old crush becoming your husband now, that's basically you. Stop right there. I cut him off before he could finish. I've always had a lot of pride. Ever since Gus rejected me, I completely lost interest in him. Whenever I think back on it now, I can't help but cringe. What the hell was wrong with me, liking him in the first place? If even my crush on him feels like an embarrassing black mark, then marriage is out of the question. Hall smirked. Then how about Ken? Sure, he plays around a bit, but in other ways he's not. I glared at him. Are all the men in the world dead? There's no one else? Your 185 big-chested boy toy? Hall's feigned surprise. Pretty sure your parents wouldn't approve of that. Not just my parents, even I would never approve of that. Halls took a slow sip of water. Looking around, it still seems like I'm the best option, doesn't it? What's so great about you? Hall said, I can give you freedom. You want to stare at hot guys, go ahead. Want to keep playing around in the entertainment industry, fine. Extreme sports? Do it. I won't stop you. He tossed out his bargaining chip, then pressed his fingers to his temple in mock frustration. Marriage, for me, is about finding some peace and quiet. Ella's not peaceful enough? She's liked me for so long. If I really married her, she'd smother me to death. Where would I find any peace? I went quiet, my once rock-solid conviction starting to waver. Freedom, that's what I've always longed for. As the only child in my family, I grew up under strict watch from my parents and relatives. Anything even remotely risky was forbidden. Even getting into the entertainment industry took endless pleading on my part. I've always wanted to know, what does it feel like to finally break free of all that? I locked eyes with Halls. You really won't try to control me? Hall said, I'm too busy to even make it home. How would I have time to control you? I thought about his packed schedule, him flying all over the world, and suddenly marrying him didn't seem so bad. After all, if your husband is never home, isn't that basically the same as being single? Well, Halls asked, wanna give me a try? I hesitated for a few seconds, then said with a burst of determination, let's try. The first thing I did after agreeing to marry Halls was bring him home to meet my parents. Maybe because we had decided on marriage after just one meeting, even my parents couldn't help but marvel. They tried to talk me out of it. Why don't you think it over a little more? There's really no rush. I lied through my teeth. He's the one. Halls put on a humble smile and said, honestly, Lily and I have always had feelings for each other, but for all kinds of reasons, we never made it public. This arranged marriage finally gave us the chance to come clean. Good, good. My dad clapped Halls on the shoulder, delighted. Uncle knew you were the right guy. The rest of the night was all about wedding arrangements. I kept my mouth shut about most of it. The only time I spoke up was when the topic of the new house came up. I want to move in and live with Halls. My mom teased me with a smile. Such a girl, don't you know how to be reserved? Reserved? Not me. I'd already planned this with Halls on the way here. I've always wanted to live on my own, but my parents never agreed, so I've been stuck under the same roof with them. This was the perfect chance. I wanted to experience living on my own in Halsey's place, just to see if it was really as amazing as my girlfriends always said. My dad cleared his throat. We'll discuss that later. I just hummed twice. Whatever. I was moving no matter what. By the time we wrapped up, it was already late at night. Halls insisted on heading home, and my parents told me to walk him out. I strolled leisurely to the door, waving my phone at him. Bye-bye, fiancé. Halls turned back with a smile. Just as he was about to say something, my phone lit up. A message from the 185 big chest sweetie. Sis, I'm already tucked in. Just waiting for your goodnight. I unlocked my phone to reply. Halls, instead of leaving, stood right next to me, watching me type. I teased him. Flirting with another guy right in front of my fiancé, so thrilling. That's your idea of thrilling? Halls said. Huh? My finger slipped, and the goodnight I had typed was already sent. Another message popped up from Sweetie. Good night. I'll come find you in your dreams, sis. Halls snatched my phone, pressed the voice message button, and said, sure, we'll be waiting for you in her dreams. He sent it, then handed my phone back. Obviously, flirting with another guy together with your fiancé, that's more thrilling. My phone dinged again. A new message from Sweetie. Sorry to intrude. Goodbye. When I tried to send another text, it showed a red exclamation mark. I couldn't help myself. I kicked Halls in the shin. All your fault, he deleted me. Halls winced in pain and cursed. I don't even get why you'd add someone like that. Talking to him is pollution for the eyes. I need it for acting, I said. My next role is literally that kind of character. Still annoyed, I pinched his arm again. I'll keep you company, okay? I'll chat with you, Hall said. However you want to talk, I'll go along with it from now on. You? I gave him a look full of disdain. His competitive streak flared up. How am I worse than that pretty boy? I'm taller, I'm better looking, I'm richer, and I'll be your free chat buddy. You're basically profiting here, alright? My gaze traveled from top to bottom, then bottom to top, finally landing on his chest beneath the blue shirt. Your chest isn't as big as his. Halls glanced down, and in an instant it was like all the strength and comeback strained out of him. He shut his eyes. Get lost. Watching him seethe with shame, I suddenly felt like I was in a great mood. Despite my parents' constant objections, I insisted on moving into Hals's place. After all, they're the ones pushing me into this arranged marriage. This is the price they have to pay. Halls actually knew what he was doing. To make my solo living life as perfect as possible, he specially picked out a downtown penthouse he'd bought but never lived in. The space and the view were amazing. The moment I walked in, I instantly fell in love with the place. Sitting in the rocking chair by the floor-to-ceiling windows, I couldn't help snapping a photo of the sunset and showing off on moments. Officially starting my solo living life, hee. Parents blocked version. Not long after, friends started commenting. Isn't this Hals's place? My soul nearly left my body. And then the comments kept rolling in. You moved in with Halls? Damn. Since when did you two get together? Congrats. I quickly deleted the post, still shaken, and sent the pic to Halls to confront him. Why do they all know this is your house? Halls called me right away. That's the marital home I prepped. Expressionless, I said, and you couldn't have mentioned that earlier? He explained, I've lived in all my other places at some point. I figured you'd mind the traces of me having been there. With this one, I can guarantee I've never stayed in it. I had to admit, it was a solid reason. I forced myself to let it go. After all, I was about to be in an arranged marriage with him. Living in his marital home a bit early didn't seem like a big deal. Hall smoothly changed the subject. So, how's solo living treating you? Of course I was happy. I was one step away from rolling around on the floor in pure joy. I crossed my legs and said, pretending to be reserved, it's fine, I guess. He chuckled low in his throat, deep and velvety, and the sound made my heart itch. I unconsciously scratched my ear. Halls and I stayed on the phone until my cell was burning hot. Even after we hung up, my mood was still buzzing. I couldn't resist spamming my bestie. Didn't you say you know some guys who dance really well? Hurry up and bring them to my place. Joy, are you insane? Joy, your parents would probably come after me with knives. I sent her my live location and reminded her, this is the address. She immediately called me. What the hell? Your parents actually let you move out? I teased, you'll see when you get here. And don't forget to bring the dancers. No problem, she said. How many do you want? I feigned modesty. It's my first time, so I shouldn't go overboard. Just 20. Huh? I burst out laughing. I meant however many you can bring. After hanging up, I curled up on the couch, daydreaming. A whole row lined up by the floor-to-ceiling windows, another row by the TV, and if there were extras, they could squeeze into the gaps. Anyway, everything I'd missed out on before, I was going to make up for it now. An hour later, the doorbell rang. Watching a line of handsome guys file in one after another, my mood skyrocketed. My bestie came in with the second wave. First thing she did was twist my ear. The elevator had to make 2 trips. You're unbelievable. I tilted my head and grinned. Gotta live it up while you can. You're seriously not afraid of the headline actress Lily secretly meets with 20 male models blowing up online? They're just here to dance. What's the big deal? I pulled her over to sit in the spot I'd carefully set up, then turned to the group of guys. Alright, one at a time. You've seen talent shows, right? Same process. While the handsome guys busied themselves lining up numbers, my bestie leaned in nervously. Whose place is this? Halsey's. Her eyes widened. Didn't you two always butt heads? No. I'm marrying him. What the hell? Her hand shot straight to my throat. You better explain yourself right now. After my quick recap, my bestie smacked her lips and said, something about this whole thing feels off. How off could it be? I shot back. What, you think Halls secretly has a crush on me or something? She just stared at me in silence. I turned her head toward the living room. Show's starting. Turns out, inviting a bunch of guys over to dance was a pretty solid choice. The city view stretched wide beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, and in front of it, handsome men moving to the music. Pure eye candy from every angle. My bestie kept squealing in my ear. Oh my god, this one's hot. This one's got moves. This one's kinda spicy, haha. No sooner had she said spicy than the guy she was talking about undid the last button on his silk shirt and flung it right over my head. It was still warm from his body. Something about it felt off. I yanked the shirt down, about to call it quits, when suddenly, the sound of a passcode lock clicking open came from behind me. I turned around, and there he was, Halls, home without warning, our eyes locking across the room. For a second, the whole atmosphere froze solid. My bestie, quick on the uptake, killed the music at once, making the silence around me feel deafening. I looked at Halls, a strange guilty pang twisting in my stomach. He stepped forward, suit jacket hooked casually over his arm, and said calmly, go on. Why'd you stop dancing? My bestie piped up, sly as ever. Think we'll call it a night. She stood, pointed in a big loop from one end of the room to the other, then ordered, you guys, with me, out. One by one, the men shuffled after her, the crowd almost comical in how chaotic their exit was. Especially the one who'd just been dancing front and center. Halfway out the door, he suddenly remembered he'd tossed his shirt onto me. He scampered back in, abs bare, ducking his head. My shirt, he muttered. I handed it over, sneaking a glance at Halls. His eyes never left the man, scanning him up and down in a way I couldn't read. When the door finally shut, the apartment felt huge, silent, and achingly empty. Just me and Halls. I broke the silence first. Tomorrow I'll have the cleaning lady come over. I won't mess up your place. It's fine. Halls sat down on the sofa, picked up a purple tie, God knows which guy had dropped it, rolled it into a ball and tossed it straight into the trash. Then he looked at me. As long as you're happy. You're mad? I asked carefully. No. Then why'd you suddenly come home? He shifted in his seat, pulled out his phone, and held it out to me. On the screen was a 6-person group chat, looked like his circle of close buddies. Big news, Hals's marriage condo is occupied. No way. By who? Bro's getting married and didn't even give us a heads up? I need time to lose weight, man. What, we're not even brothers anymore? You're not inviting us to the wedding? Halls, get in here and explain yourself. After being spammed with mentions, Halls finally replied. Yeah, it's kinda true, but the rest isn't set in stone yet. Not set in stone? At least tell us who the bride is, right? Out of nowhere, Gus popped up. It's Lily, isn't it? The whole chat blew up instantly. I skimmed through the messages, then looked at Halls. So you came back to take me out for dinner? Yeah, Halls chuckled. But I didn't expect to walk in on such a lively scene. For once, I actually felt a little embarrassed. Well, I finally moved out on my own. I deserve to cut loose a little, right? Go ahead, cut loose, Hall said. Indulge all you want. I got up, ready to change clothes and go with him to the dinner, but my gut kept nagging at me. Halls was still hung up on what had just happened. I'll really have the housekeeper clean up your place, I repeated. Halls looked up. You think the apartment's what I care about? Then what else could it be? The corners of his mouth tugged upward into a smile. Nothing else. Go change. On the way to the dinner, neither of us said a word. Just as I was about to say something to ease the awkward silence, he suddenly brought it up. That guy who tossed his shirt on your head, he had a big chest, huh? I didn't notice. Why? No reason. Just curious about your taste, he said. Pretty boy type. All looks, no substance. I shot him a sideways glance. He met my eyes without flinching. You do this often? First time. He rubbed his temples, sounding pained. And for your first time, you went all out. I snapped back. Didn't you say you weren't going to control me? He instantly fell silent. By the time Halls and I arrived at the private room, his buddies were already there. The moment they saw us, they all jumped up, cheering and hollering. I felt a little shy. After all, they were all old acquaintances. Not long ago, Halls and I were at each other's throats, and now, just like that, we'd become practically family. The scene was honestly embarrassing. I tried hiding behind Halls. But then his warm palm wrapped around mine, pulling me forward. Let me officially introduce my fiancée, Lily. The cheer this time was at least twice as loud. Even after we sat down, the noise still echoed in my ears. Everyone started chiming in at once. Knew it. You've been crushing on Lily all along. Never showed interest in any other girl, always sparring with Lily, should have guessed. Come on, be honest. How long have you been in love with her? Hall suddenly smiled, a rare hint of boyish sincerity on his face. To be honest, a long time. I froze for a second, then snapped back to myself right away. He was putting on a show. There was no way I could tell everyone the truth about our arranged marriage. The best cover, of course, was to admit there'd been feelings between us all along. But my old crush on Gus was ancient history, so the only option was for the story to be that Halls had been the one secretly in love with me. Thinking of that, I couldn't help but give Halls a silent thumbs up in my heart. The man's quick on his feet. And the quick-thinking man was still saying, I never really wanted to pick fights with her, it was childish. But if I didn't, I honestly didn't know what else to do. And in the end, it just turned out like this. Everyone groaned, covering their faces. Oh my god, that's so sweet it hurts, my teeth are rotting from the sugar. Halls looked around the table, then fixed his gaze on Gus. And what are you groaning for? Gus answered, seeing you this happy makes me happy too. My eyes instinctively flicked toward Gus. Ever since he'd rejected my confession, I'd stopped paying him much attention. I hadn't even realized he and Halls were this close. I tried recalling details of their friendship, when suddenly Halls waved a big hand right in front of my face. Can't take your eyes off him, huh? I shot him a bright, deliberate smile. Then, when no one else was paying attention, I leaned in close and whispered, haven't we dragged this play out long enough? This is nothing yet, Halls whispered back. If we don't put on the act, they'll think you only got with me as an excuse to get closer to Gus. My eyes widened. For a split second, that thought felt terrifying.